Hey guys, this is Ron from Mikado USA. I've had a request on how to do a few things with VControl and logos, so I'm actually going to make a series of videos showing different aspects of how to make like minor changes in the radio, how to adjust things, how to actually go through the radio and do maintenance if necessary, and also I'm going to show you a couple of build tips when it comes to Mikado helicopters as well. Today, this video is going to be showing you guys how to replace the batteries inside your VControl. It's a pretty straightforward process, but I see the same kind of questions coming up when people have VControls and they're unsure of what to do. You will not void your warranty by replacing the batteries in a VControl. It's not a hard process. The radio is actually made for you to take apart because that's how you adjust the stick tension as well as replace the batteries if necessary, and also blowing out the gimbals so you don't get trash in them or anything. So today's just going to be a straightforward replacement of the batteries. I'm going to show you how that goes and what you need to look for. So the one thing I will tell you is if you have new batteries, you already have a battery in your radio and you're adding a second battery to your radio, the only thing you need to make sure you have is the batteries at the same charge state when they're plugged into the radio, which means you can't have one charged to 100% and one set at 50%. But you can have two batteries at 80%, or you can have two batteries at 100%. So my advice to most people is to charge the battery that's that's already in the radio to 100%, unplug it, add the second battery, plug it in, and then charge it to 100%. And then just simply add the second battery, just plug in the second battery, and then you never have to worry about the batteries equalizing inside the radio and causing damage to the charge circuit. So today you're going to see me take apart my radio and show you how to replace the batteries. I got two brand new Maniacs, 6,000 milliamp packs. These are brand new from Mikado USA, and they're great batteries. As you can see, they're 5C. You don't need a high C battery when you're doing radios or any kind of small electronics, because electronics just don't pull that many amps of current at that. They don't demand a high C battery. You don't need something that can pull 40 amps, 50 amps at a time. It's only going to pull a little bit at a time. So 5C batteries are just perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the battery packs and get this process started here. You guys get to see what these things look like when they're opened up. Put one over here. Okay, so opening the batteries up. You see coming out of the packaging, you got the bubble wrap all the way around them, and of course it has the instruction manual for Maniacs and some of the warnings and cautions that come with just about any lipo. They're very detailed when it comes to what you can and cannot do with the battery so you don't cause issues. You see the back of the battery here, and you can see that it's just a small single cell lipo, nothing crazy. It's got the V-bar control end on it. I don't know what that end is called, like the name JST or something. I don't know what that's called. But two of these will fit very neatly inside the VControl radio. So I'm going to pull the other one out of the package, get it ready to go. All right, same battery. Now, when they come out of the package, they're going to be at the same charge state because, you know, every lipo comes with a storage charge for two reasons. One, for the longevity of the battery, and also for safety in transport. All right, so what you're going to do, first thing you're going to do is you're going to take the radio and you're going to flip it over. Now, what I like to do is try to put a couple things down so that the gimbals themselves aren't being smashed when you're, trying to take the radio apart. So you flip this guy over and just put some things over the top of it so it kind of supports the radio and the gimbals so they're not getting smashed when you're pulling the radio apart here. I'm going to pull this down so you can see it a little bit better. All right, and then we're going to start removing the screws. 2.5 millimeter Allen wrench, and this is a Scorpion piece. I've had it for a couple years now. Great tools. Unscrew each one of the 6 screws that are on the back of the radio. Oh, my radio's a little dirty. Clean it up before Urcha. Get it all ready to go. Which, by the way, be nice for you guys to put down in the comments. Let me know who's coming to Urcha this year. All right, now, if your radio has the little rubber feet, you got to make sure you take those off as well because the radio splits at the bottom. So you pull those rubber feet off, set them to the side. And then all you do is you lift up on the radio itself, and you'll see there's a couple of connectors that you have to disconnect. So you always pull at the base of the connector straight up. You don't wiggle it or do any crazy back and forth motions, just straight up. This guy here, straight up. And then the last one on the left-hand side, straight up. They're very solid. They're not gonna break in your hand. You don't have to worry about that at all. Now, what I like to do as well, since those screws are in there, it's almost impossible to get the screws lined up when you're putting the cases together. So what I do is I go ahead and dump those screws out to make all 6 of them there. I put the case aside. I put my screws in an area so I can find those pretty quickly. They're not indicated. They can go in any specific way. They don't have to go in the same holes, but they're all the same size. Okay, so the second thing you want to do is actually you don't want to touch the board. You want to unplug the batteries you have inside the radio. You don't want there to be any kind of charge state, solid charge state. If it's just in case you drop a screwdriver or something to go across contacts, you don't burn anything up in the radio. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and disconnect the current radios. Current batteries. If you see there's a little pin here, you push on the pin and then lift up. You can lift up with 1 or 2, it doesn't matter. These are actually really, really solid, and they'll come right up. Now, you do see the previous batteries have a strap that goes across the top. I don't know if the strap will work with the Maniacs batteries because these are slightly larger. I'm going to test it and see. If the strap doesn't work, there's absolutely nothing wrong. If you have a single strap in yours from an older radio, there's absolutely nothing wrong with strapping down the bottom battery and then just doing double-sided tape on the top battery. They're not going anywhere. They're not going to fall. They're not going to come out of the radio. They're not going to do anything because the back of the radio presses the batteries together as well. So you don't have to worry about them falling apart, which is really good. Okay, so now that that's been disconnected, you want to unscrew the one screw here. I like to lift up on this tab to keep the washer and the screw together. That way they don't fall inside the radio. Set that aside. Then the second one, unscrew it, and I lift up on the whole tab together so the screw doesn't fall in the radio. All right, so now that's out. We're just going to take these 2 batteries, which are Velcro down, nice and soft, and lift them out. Okay, so they're Velcroed, as you can see, just like they are that matches the Velcro on the actual radio itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to transfer this Velcro from this battery to the new Maniacs batteries. So I'm gonna do this kind of off camera. It's going to be a little bit easier for me to get this done. You can hear me ripping off the Velcro. It's not a hard process. It's pretty simple, and it doesn't have to be dead perfect. It just needs to be on there relatively close so it can actually make contact with the Velcro that's in there. Okay, so we got the one battery. It's a Maniac 6000. I transferred the Velcro to the back. Going to slide this guy right into the spot where it goes. You want just a little bit of space between the bottom of the battery and the connector, and then you'll see it kind of hangs off the top up here, but it's not that much of a difference. And if you get it slightly off one way or the other, it's not a big deal. What this affords you if you do it this way is cable routing. Now, so what I did is I'm mounting the batteries such that the cables are going to be on the right-hand side, and I can lay the cables down to the right so I don't have to worry about them getting over to the top here. You can flip the battery over and have the cable coming to this side and route it just like it is before. This way it just seems a little easier for me personally. When I put the radio back together, it's a little easier for me to get the cables where they are. All right, so the one battery's in. Now the second battery obviously needs to attach to this guy. So what we need to do is we need to put a little double-sided tape between the 2 batteries and to get the batteries to stick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some double-sided tape, and I'm going to make that swap real quick. Guys, give me just 1 second. Picked me up a small piece of double-sided tape. It's the same tape, gyro tape, that I use from, when we were mounting the V-bars to the helicopter. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take lost my razor knife, so I'm gonna take a small knife here, and I'm going to peel up that red, separate the red from the gray. Okay. Batteries are done. Well, the double-sided tape is done. This battery is going to sit right on top of the other one. You just want to make sure that the batteries are relatively close as far as, like forward, back. Don't have to be dead perfect. You can see I just kind of mounted it by eye. Then you want to go ahead and plug in your batteries. Okay. Once you got your batteries plugged in, you want to ensure that your cables are routed in such a way so it's not going to interfere with the case being put back together. So as you can see, I'm just kind of tucking these guys here. Nothing special, nothing crazy. And I'm going to grab my case, the back part of my radio, and I'm going to reconnect my switches. One thing I see a lot of guys do when they replace switches in this radio, the ones that are on top here, you have to make absolutely sure when you're pushing those switches, those connectors in, you're pushing straight down. So you're not causing any torque on the actual connector, because you can break those connectors off the board, and then you're either out of switch or you have to replace the board in order to be able to use that switch again. So you're going to take this guy, I'm going to slide it down, push it down with my thumb. It's really easy, it goes in. Take the second one, do the same thing. Slide it down. You take the third one, which is this guy. Slide it down, good to go. So all my connectors are physically on the radio. All the connectors are on the board. I'm going to slide this down. You see how that nicely fits? But it's got just a little bit of push up. You see that? That's from the batteries. Just a little bit, it's not a whole lot. So actually I forgot my strap. I apologize. Getting so used to making the videos, forgot about my strap to see if it would work. So we're gonna take this guy, slide it through the hole here. And you're gonna do it on the top here, see if you can get your screw down. Now I'm looking here, and it's looking like it's really tight. As you can look to the left here, that's not gonna make it to the board. So the new batteries are definitely larger, so it's not gonna give me the ability to be able to reuse the strap. It's not a big deal. The strap is not absolutely necessary. So what I am gonna do is I am gonna replace the screws though that go into the board, because those do hold the board and make a connection there. Put those two screws in. I usually hold it like this. That way I make sure this washer doesn't drop into the radio. Make a connection. I should have done this with the radio, with the batteries disconnected, but I've done this about 200-300 times, so I've got a couple of tricks I can do. But anyway, okay, so now I want to reconnect my switches again, which these are the back switches on the radio, the long 3-position. And then this is the vibration little thing inside. Okay, see, I fell off my little stand here. Make sure that's in. It is. Nothing's hitting. It's all good to go. So now, replace my screws one at a time. Just put them in the hole. Now everything's lined up. Lost one. All right, screw them down. Now, when you screw your radio, another failure I see people do is when they screw these screws in, they try to make them super tight. It's just not necessary. Basically, you screw it in until it just doesn't turn anymore. Just once it gives you the hard turn, there's no need to go like a quarter turn past that. It's plastic. All it's doing is holding the radio together. It's not under flight G-forces or anything like that. And if you over tighten the radio, especially on the older VControls, you can actually damage the screen, so you have to be careful. So you put these guys in, make sure no connectors or anything or wires are hanging out of the side of the case when you put it together. All right, So these are brand new batteries. So now this is out of the way. We're going to check functionality. Okay, so I'm going to tip my button on the back here. Radio looks good, dark theme. You see it's at 40%. So it's a little bit less than 50%, but that's what both batteries are hanging out. And when I come in, you see the batteries dropping kind of quick. I have a few things turned on my radio when it comes on, so they all boot up and you'll see little extra things come on. But right now it's dropping to 36. I'm gonna put it on the charger and I'm sure it'll be at 100% and everything will hold like it should, no issues. Make sure you know everything works on your radio. And you know, obviously you check your stick positions and make sure everything is in. And then you want to check your switches. You can see the little switches things dropping at the bottom, and make sure they all work. They all do. So I know everything's correct. It's ready to go. Next video I'll be posting here soon. Hopefully I'll have a Logo 700 that I'm going to be taking apart. And I'm going to be disassembling it and showing how to reassemble it correctly from the factory. I'd hope to get a new kit, but those are kind of hard to get right now. Hopefully that'll be taken care of soon. And it's good to show you this video. If you have any questions, you guys know how to catch me. You can catch me on YouTube, on the Laughing Still. You can catch me on Instagram under Ronald Thomas. Or you can obviously email me at vstabby@mikadousa.com if you have any questions. Good talking to you.